We are a $700 million group of companies that make all the things that a dentist needs to do their day-to-day work for treating a patient. We have operations all around the world, notably in the US.
We want to be trusted advisors out in the field, and we want to be viewed differently from our competition and by the dealers and the end users.
We have a CRM system, and that's important because that's how you think about customers and looking at and analysing their purchases and where they are. We have mapping software that helps you look at a territory and plan things. Those things are important. They drive a lot of productivity. What you need as a foundation is a selling skills program to make all of that hang together. And that foundation, that investment we're making is with the Brooks Group. We just didn't want an acronym. That's easy. What we wanted is a partner who understood. We wanted a way of developing our sales organization. And we wanted someone who was going to be responsive. We wanted someone who was going to get our global footprint and help us not just do this in the US, but do it in multiple countries, multiple regions, and then across multiple companies.
A lot of people know already the best practices of selling, but they don't necessarily apply it. The question is why? Because they haven't really understood how it applies in their world specifically. And that's what customization brings to the table.
Working with the Brooks Group has been great. So first step for us was the assessments and going over each team member. So as a manager, you got to review the assessments of your team. Your team got to review their assessments with a Brooks Group member. We were able to look at gaps and look at the assessments, look at people's strengths, and really build strong development plans.
Impact has allowed me to kind of get a better view of who they are individually and what their strengths are and how they view themselves and the world around them. So it allows me to kind of work with them individually. It helps me to give them more specifics on what works for them.
We've used a platform, Impact Selling, to build a common language, a common process, and provide consistency across the entire organization for how they approach their customers, how they interact with their dealer communities, because their job is to build relationships with the dealer network, but influence the end user dentist and dental practices that actually buy their products.
Prior to Impact, I was a transactional-based seller. I would try and conduct the sale right there on the spot. What Impact has done is has taken me a step back, allowed me to look at the wholesaling process from a larger perspective, allowed me to take more time to narrow my focus on who a good customer is and what's necessary to take that customer from a prospect to a long-term customer. And I personally believe that Impact process has enhanced what I do on a daily basis and can enhance anybody that's in any kind of selling industry. And so I'm definitely a fan.
I like to be educational and bring value to my customers through teaching them things. And that aligns perfectly with Impact in that it's not some fancy technique for closing or some tricky tactic to paint someone into a corner. It's really bringing value to your customers and helping them get better at what they're doing, which in turn helps you.
What really has impressed me is our partnership with the Brooks Group. There have been things that we've wanted to morph, things that we've wanted to adapt, and we've had this very collaborative engagement with the Brooks Group to make that change, make that little adjustment. And it's been, again, really useful for our management to see that the partner is responding to the things that we think are important.
We've also started to use the Brooks Group and their consulting when we hire. So the pre-hire assessments and then the review of each candidate before we hire has been very instrumental in our selection process.
We're thrilled how this has rolled out. Our pilot in the US has gone brilliantly, and now we're rolling out in Europe, and now we're rolling out across the multiple opcos in the US, and I'm quietly confident this is going to be really awesome.